Hello, and welcome to today's training on the 2020-2021 Important Prerequisite Math Standards. I am Jamie Abair, the Math Specialist for the Louisiana Department of Education. I'm happy to share with you the new Louisiana resource. Today, we will introduce the new document. We will also experience two different planning scenarios and think about what decisions we will make to engage students in just-in-time supports so that we can be sure they are experiencing and learning grade level mathematics. To fully participate in today's session, you will need access to the documents linked on this slide. Today's training example uses Grade 2 Engage New York Eureka Math materials, but the line of thinking and planning is applicable to any high-quality curriculum at any grade level of math. We chose Eureka for this presentation because it is the most widely used curriculum in our state. At this time, pause the video to collect your materials. To begin our thinking on important prerequisite math standards, let's take a moment to reflect. What approaches are you taking this year to make sure your students are ready for grade level math? What student learning challenges are you facing? For challenges, try to focus on the learning and not the major societal challenges of a pandemic or a hurricane. On a piece of paper, list the go-to strategies you use to address some of the learning challenges. Take a 30-second pause to reflect. If you are watching the recording as a team, feel free to think silently, then share with your group. Keep this note handy for the end of the training. Louisiana Important Prerequisite Math Standards document provides guidance regarding strategic decision-making to support such on-time remediation. This document identifies critical standards in which students may have unfinished learning. Suggestions are provided indicating where time can be made to address these critical prerequisite standards. Lessons aligned to the most common Tier 1 curricula are listed. All of this information has been provided with the goal of supporting teachers in strategic proactive planning for the 2020-2021 school year. You will find this new document posted on the K-12 Math Planning page. A commitment to equitable mathematics instruction requires intentionality in identifying, celebrating, and building on knowledge that students have gained. It also requires that educators are strategic as they plan to address current and ongoing learning gaps. Starting the school year with weeks of review of prior grade standards will result in a long-term loss of access to grade level work that perpetuates inequalities for historically marginalized students. This approach is shown in graphic 1. Students who were impacted by interruptions to teaching and learning and subsequent learning losses are still able to access most grade level standards this year without prior review, and that missed content can usually be integrated in a minimally invasive way. This means that as we move through the year, teachers build in scaffolds and supports as they are needed for success in grade level content as shown in graphic 2. Sometimes those interventions will be at the beginning of a topic or lesson. Sometimes they will be carefully woven into a lesson, building on the supports, and sometimes they will be the result of students' struggle to ensure access for every child. No matter their reason, supports are integrated into lessons, and they must be of the same quality as the adopted curriculum. Thank you to our colleagues in Hawaii for this graphic. A preview of grade 2 is shown. The first column identifies prior grade level standards that are necessary for current year learning. Prior grade standards shaded red require action before students will be ready for the content in column 2. Standards shaded orange may require teachers to support and scaffold during instruction on the grade level standard. The fourth column holds suggestions for instructional time. Time should be preserved for content shaded green and is suggested to be reduced for content shaded blue. The final column provides lesson alignment for the most widely implemented Tier 1 curricula. Please take particular note of the title. This document is intended to drive decision-making this year in response to the events affecting learning last year and this fall. Just because a teacher or school chooses to omit or de-emphasize something this year does not mean that the same decision will be relevant or in the best interest of students next year. We will now visit two elementary school second grade teams. Today is November 13th. Pelican Elementary School is located in the southwest part of our state. At this point, they are in the 7th week of attendance. The second graders were just assessed on Module 2. This group of students attended school online through October 9th and has just returned to face-to-face instruction. Alligator Elementary School is located in North Louisiana. Right now, they are in the 11th week of school. The second graders are going to be assessed on the end of Module 3 today. This group of students has attended school in person all year. Both teams are forward planning so that they can save time and ensure the students engage in and are proficient in important grade 2 content and are ready for grade 3 by the end of May. To start making strategic decisions, each team will need their Module 4 teacher materials, the grade 2 standards remediation guide, their Louisiana Guide to Implementing Eureka Math, and the new Louisiana Important Prerequisite Math Standards document. First, we will take a look at the Louisiana Guide to Implementing Eureka Math for Grade 2, Module 4, Topics A and B. This information can be found on page 12 of that document. Topics A and B are rooted in 2OAA1, 2MBTB5, and 2MBTB7. It is also important to note the embedded prior grade level standards in these lessons. We can capitalize on this embedded scaffold if needed. Next, we're going to make sure that we read the text of the standards. Standards coding is helpful, but it's always important to refer back to the full text each time we're making a decision. So 2OAA1 says use addition and subtraction with 100 to solve 1- and 2-step word problems involving situations of adding to, taking from, putting together, taking apart, and comparing with unknowns in all positions. For example, by using drawings and equations with a symbol for the unknown number to represent the problem. According to the Louisiana Important Prerequisite Math Standards document, 2OAA1 is an application standard that had heavy traffic from the prior year. This means that students should have an entry point into the content, but may require support that weaves in prior grade level information during the lessons. The recommendation on this standard is to emphasize problems that involve sums less than or equal to 20 and are the related differences to keep the focus on making sense of different types of word problems. We can assign fewer problems with sums greater than 20 or related differences. To MBTB5 is a standard that requires fluently add and subtract within 100 using strategies based on place value, properties of operations, and our relationships between addition and subtraction. 2MBTB7 requires add and subtract within 1,000 using concrete models or drawings and strategies based on place value, properties of operations, and or the relationship between addition and subtraction. Justify the reasoning used with a written expression. Understand that in adding or subtracting 3-digit numbers, one adds or subtracts hundreds and hundreds, tens and tens, ones and ones, and sometimes it's necessary to compose or decompose tens or hundreds. To MBTB5 is a procedural skill standard with pink coding to the left. This means that the standard will require bridging up to the grade level content from 1 MBTC5 and 6. 2 MBTB7 is conceptual procedural standard that is shaded orange, which is another heavy traffic. Remember, heavy traffic means that students should have an entry point, but may require some supports and scaffolds from prior grade levels in order to access the lessons. For both of these standards, it's recommended that we prioritize strategies based on place value in written work to strengthen the progression towards fluency with multi-digit addition and subtraction. So now we're going to take a second look at the Louisiana Guide to Implementing Grade 2 Eureka Math. We can see that some of the heavy traffic standards have been addressed by the nature of the curriculum. 1 MBTC5 is already included in the first topic of the module. We should now also note that lessons in topic A and B are listed as on grade level lessons. Now we will look at the teaching materials. This chart comes from the grade 2, module 2 overview. Notice that the standard alignment here may be a little bit different than the alignment listed in the Louisiana documents. This is mostly due to the slight differences between the Louisiana Student Standards for Mathematics and CCSSM. Here, we are taking a quick look at the lesson objectives for this set of topics, looking for ways to emphasize strategies based on place value and build towards fluency for sums within 20 and their related differences. We should also note that lesson 3 and 4 have the same student outcome. Lessons 9 and 10 also have the same student outcome. So now we're going to take a look at strategy development across the lessons. This information was found by actually looking at the content of every lesson. So lesson 1 focuses on the arrow way strategy. Lesson 2 uses number bonds, mental math, and the arrow way. Lesson 3 extends the arrow way. Lesson 4 focuses on using a tape diagram to demonstrate that adding to both numbers in a subtraction sentence equals the same difference. Tape diagrams were heavily emphasized in Module 1 and 2, but this particular strategy is not necessarily concretely related to place value for students. Lesson 5 focuses on word problems. Lesson 6 uses all the strategies but requires regrouping. Lesson 7 uses the vertical method. Lesson 8 concretely demonstrates regrouping and connects the strategies to the vertical method. Lesson 9 and 10 have lots of practice on using math drawings and connecting to concepts extending into 3-digit addition using the algorithm. We should also consider the lessons on pacing as noted on page 4 of the teacher edition. If pacing is a challenge, consider the following modifications and omissions. Consider pacing more quickly the lessons that follow topic A in module 4, as students readily grasp renaming different hundreds, tens, and ones. Spend additional instructional minutes with word problems, unknown in different places. And mental math. Note that this is the same adjustment in pacing can also be made in looking ahead to the lessons that follow topic A in module 5. Consider omitting lessons 29 and 30. Instead, introduce the concept of totals below in lesson 21. Continue to embed totals below in the concept development or the debrief of subsequent lessons. So let's take a pause. Right now, we know a lot of information about what's coming up for these second grade students. This content is major. It is vital to emphasize place value understanding. The bridge from grade 1 to grade 2 is extending solving word problems from within 20 to within 100. We may have to scaffold the problems down here to ensure students understand the problem types. So what's next? We're going to reflect on placing. How many lessons do we have left? How much of the year remains? We're going to reflect on student performance. What does guidance for this year say about content and strategies? What structures are available during our day to use as extra math time? Do we have an extended math block? Do we have work time in the morning? Is there downtime at the end of the day? Action doesn't have to happen during the math block or RTI time. Every moment with students is an opportunity for learning. Are there any other data sources we could use to reflect on? Curriculum embedded assessments, exit tickets, LEAP 360 diagnostics for grades 3 through 5, and classroom observations all give us information as teachers to strategically plan for the needs of students. Any data that communicates information about the depth of student understanding is valid data to use to make instructional decisions. So now let's practice. Remember Pelican Elementary? Pelican Elementary School is located in Southwest Louisiana. Students attended online through October 9th, then began attending in person. Today is November 13th, which is about the 7th week of school. Due to all of the events occurring this fall, the second grade team completed Module 2 today. The school year in this district is scheduled to end the last week of May. Normally, module pacing would be in the 12th week of school, mid-Module 4. 20% of students in this class are mostly fluent with addition within 20. 80% are still working on the related subtraction facts. Most students are fluent with 10 more or 10 less, but are still heavily reliant on concrete place value strategies when regrouping is required. The team must plan to address unfinished learning in their student population and engage with essential content to ensure success for their students in future mathematics. If you're watching this video with the teacher team, pause for about 10 minutes to discuss what decisions you might make if you were on the grade 2 team at Pelican Elementary. So it's important to notice that this year we have 5 fewer weeks of school. School is still scheduled to end on time in May, even though we had a rough start. 20% of our students are ready with addition within 20, but 80% of them are still processing the related subtraction facts. They're still successful with concrete strategies such as place value tips. They're just not yet fluent. After studying the standards and all the guidance documents referring to topic A and B, the teachers determined that they would omit lesson 4 because the strategy of adding a value to both numbers in a subtraction sentence to find a difference is not concretely based on place value, as noted in the important prerequisite math standards document. Students are still working on grade 1 subtraction facts within 20 and are having more success with concrete visual models. The team has decided to only teach lesson 9 rather than lesson 9 and 10 because both are focused on word problems. They did commit to have students engage in the word problems embedded in the other lessons so that they get frequent practice with different types of problems. The team also discussed that next year they may include these lessons. This is a one-year decision. The teachers also noticed that they may need some simpler chip model problems from grade 1, module 2, lesson 11 to activate learning for students who are struggling during lessons 8 and 9. As they teach lessons 1 through 5, they will gather information about who might need to practice making groups of 10 with chips before using the chip model with a place value chart. The strategies from the first grade lesson are found on the second page of the lesson. You can see that these are the first grade strategies that connect to the current learning. Looking forward, lessons in Module 4, Topic D, 17 through 21 are focused on 2 NBTB7. All of these are remediation lessons suggested to be used only with students who need more practice after experiencing Topic B, according to the Guide to Implementing Eureka Math on page 13. Normally, a few of these lessons would be taught to students at Pelican Elementary. This year, the teachers are going to make a decision after Topic B and likely deprioritize the content in the interest of saving time. Students will continue to engage with 2 MBTB7 throughout the rest of the module, and if individual students are struggling, teachers can use the content of these lessons to intervene with them in small groups. Take a minute to think about how did your plan for Pelican Elementary align to the plan discussed in this presentation? Feel free to pause. The grade 2 teachers at Alligator Elementary are also doing some module planning. Alligator Elementary School is located in the north part of our state. Students have been attending school in person all year. Today is November 13th, which is about the 11th week of school. Current pacing has the grade 2 team finishing Module 3 today. The school year in the district is scheduled to end the last week of May. Normally, the module pacing would be in the 12th week of school, mid-Module 4. 50% of students in this class are mostly fluent with addition within 20, but are working on subtraction. They are fluent with 10 more or 10 less within 1,000, but are still heavily reliant on concrete place value strategies when regrouping is required. The team must plan to address unfinished learning in their student population and engage with essential content to ensure student success in future mathematics. If you're watching this video with the teacher team, pause for 10 minutes to discuss what decisions you might make if you were on the grade 2 team at Pelican Elementary. The important things to notice at Alligator Elementary, is that we are in the 11th week of school. Today we finished Module 3. We're normally mid-Module 4, but we're not as far behind as the other school. 50% of our students are making progress with addition within 20. They're still working on subtraction, but they're not in a terrible place. They are fluent with 10 more and 10 less and can give you those answers successfully automatically without a lot of thought or concrete manipulatives required. They are still heavily reliant on those concrete strategies when regrouping is required. So they're just not there yet with regrouping. After studying the standards and all guidance documents referring to topic A and B, the teachers determined that they would also omit lesson 4 for the same reasons previously discussed at Pelican Elementary. Remember, this lesson uses the strategy of adding a value to both numbers in a subtraction sentence to find a difference and is not concretely based on place value and doesn't connect to place value for students. Students here are more proficient with addition and subtraction within 20, but small groups are still only proficient with concrete models. The team decided to go ahead and teach both lessons 9 and 10 and to give students more time to engage and practice with word problems. They feel they have the time to allow for students to grapple with these problems. They discussed as a group that it was still important for students to engage with word problems embedded in the other lessons every day so that they are more successful when they go to lessons 9 and 10. The teachers also noticed that the grade 1 module 2 lesson 11 problems will be needed to address the needs of the small groups of students who are still struggling. They will make sure that they use these problems during small group time at least a week before they get to lesson 9 and 10, so that when teaching lesson 9 and 10, students remember how to use the model to make groups of 10. So looking forward to Module 4, Topic D, lessons 17 through 21 are focused on 2 MBTV 7. All are remediation lessons suggested to be used only with students who need more practice after experiencing Topic B. This group also looks ahead and notices that they're listed as remediation. They decide to schedule at least 2 days for students to work on specific problems from these lessons just to cement their understanding. This plan is tentative, and the teacher group will make a final decision after they have taught topic A and B based on the performance of their students. If you're watching this as a group, please take a moment and compare your plan for Alligator Elementary to the plan that was presented in the presentation. The process you just experienced connects very strongly to the diverse learner cycle. This year, every student is coming with different knowledge and skills. Classroom makeups are changing often as students move to different modes of learning due to health and environmental emergencies. As we move forward into next year, it will be essential to continually engage in this cycle, ensuring readiness for every student, especially the most vulnerable populations. So what next? Our next steps. Make sure that we continue to plan with the lens of readiness. There is no program or website that will address the needs of students as well as a well-prepared teacher who has established positive teacher-student relationships. This process that we've just engaged in is not new. We just now have an urgent need to become proficient in making these strategic instructional decisions, focused on filling unfinished learning gaps. Be willing to flex and adapt your plans in the interest of student learning needs. Root your decisions in student data and the standards. As grade level teams make strategic decisions, it is necessary to make note of what actions are taken in terms of lessons and strategies that are emphasized, deprioritized, or removed. These decisions are so important and necessary this year, but record of the actions you take will be valuable information for the next grade level teacher. Share your notes in vertical planning conversations. Now that we have experienced the process from two perspectives, let's reflect on our original list of strategies. How does your original list compare to what we have learned today? What do you commit to trying out in your classroom? For questions related to the Louisiana Important Prerequisite Math Standards document or any other tool posted on the K-12 Math Planning page, please reach out to stem@la.gov. Thank you for joining us today.